Hey everybody, and welcome to the day you hope you open your fridge and not see any more leftovers day. Yes, that is today. I don't know about you guys, but I hate leftovers. I know. I feel kind of like, I don't know, a traitor to my people for saying that. Because most people love Thanksgiving leftovers. And I like some of them, but man, after a while, I just can't anymore. In fact, last night the kiddo and I were looking in the fridge for something to eat, and there were the turkey leftovers. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and we both were like, "Oh, cannot do it again." So I made some turkey taco soup, and all was fine with the world. And we both chowed down on it. It was super good. And so yeah, I I do hope that your fridge is still overflowing with wonderful food and that your heart is still glowing with gratefulness, because I am most definitely grateful for you and grateful for y'all being here. For those of y'all watching on Facebook Live, yay, hi. And for those of you guys that are watching tomorrow on YouTube, so thank you so much for both of you. If you would just take just a second and either like, love, laugh at this comment, I don't care, just as long as you're not angry facing me. Or if you're on YouTube, if you would do the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss an episode, I would super appreciate it. It just kind of helps spread the word. That's it. And I'm going to turn off this light behind me because it's glaring in you guys' eyes. And I forgot to do that before I started. So that's my fancy dancy under the desk light there, so I can see when I'm working on stuff. Because my office really is dark without this overhead, and you know, you got to have some kind of ambiance when you're writing anyway, right? So I can't just have the overhead light on all the time. So my husband installed those. He's just so smart. Let me tell you, I'm actually surprised he hasn't attached it to that Alexa. And I'm not saying that word very loud because there's one in my office now. So probably recording my every move and my every sound, and you know, every time I make a ladylike, expression or something, I'm sure Alexa here's me. So I'm looking over to see if she's glowing. She's not. So anyway, so welcome to Indie Strong. This is episode number 13. And I hope that I am doing my justice in making you become a stronger indie author, one question at a time. Thank you guys so much for joining in. And let's just get started, shall we? I'm sure everybody is nice and full on all those leftovers I was just talking about. So let's go on to the questions. I finished my NaNoWriMo project. My book is finished. Yay, you. Taylor in Texas. Good job. What do I do now? The correct answer is that you edit, and then you edit again, and then you edit some more. So we've talked about this before, about the process you need to make sure that you put out a quality publication, so that you put your best foot forward. And that is all about editing. Yes, writing that rough draft is super fun. It's when you get all that creative juices just right on the paper. You just splatter it on. But because it is a splatter, you do need to edit it. You need to figure out what splatter works and what needs to be erased or cleaned up. So it's really, really important that you edit. Immediately after you finish your rough draft, you need to content edit. That is where you get other people to read it, and they tell you where all the plot holes are, where there's parts that are confusing, or if you have a character speaking that has never entered the room. These are all kind of the logistics that a critique group would find for you. That is really the easiest way to do content edits, is to have other people read it and you read their stuff. And it's kind of a trade. You want to find a really good critique group, people who support you, who will lift you up and not put you down. If your critique group is telling you you're writing crap, find a different critique group, because they should lift you. It should be a supportive group. They should understand that writing is hard, that the first draft is a rough draft for a reason. And if they're putting you down and you feel like crap every time you leave the meeting, it is not a good place to be, and find another place, find better people. And if you are one of those people who every time you critique, you think it's crap and you say it, maybe reevaluate how you feel about your own writing. Maybe there's a little bit of bitterness there that's coming through during your critique. Maybe think about that a little bit more. The general rule for critiquing is for every negative thing that you point out, you should point out something positive as well. You should lift up as well as it being constructive. And it has to be constructive. If you just look at somebody's work and say, this is crap, this sentence is crap, this sentence is awkward, then you need to kind of help them figure out how not to make it awkward. When I meet with my critique group, and we meet every week, when I say something is awkward, we then discuss it. I don't always write like how I would have written it, but we discuss it. I make it a point to say, this sentence tripped me up when I was reading. How can we make it better? And then we work together to make it better. And that's what a critique group should do. And that's what your content editor should do. You guys should be working together to decide, how do I make this better? You should never walk away from one of those meetings feeling like you should quit writing altogether. Those are not good people you want to have in your life. And that goes for anything. That goes for any amount of work. If you're a baker and somebody is continually telling you that your cookies are crap, then go find a different baking partner. I mentioned cooking because I just finished my second novel in my Heart Valley series. Yay, rough draft. So I'm going to edit. And it's all about a baker and a chocolatier. So baking's on my head. On my mind, not on my head, it's in my mind. I know. Anyway, I'm just really excited. And it was like last week I got online and I had just written like a really heavy email. And then this week I'm all like, yay, giddy, because I finished a rough draft. And you should be giddy. So Taylor, for sure, celebrate that you finished that rough draft. Just don't publish it as it is. And I've said this before, that is one of the biggest problems that I have with NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, is that people are just so giddy that they wrote 50,000 words, that they finished that novel, that they're ready to publish it. And I understand the glow of the giddiness. I mean, I'm still glowing putting this one out last week. It's there and it never gets old. And if it gets old, maybe find a different career. I don't know, but it should never get old putting out a book. But I understand the giddiness. I understand the excitement of finishing and accomplishing that goal. And you did, and you deserve that celebration, but the book is not finished. And so that's really what I want to get across today is, yes, super great accomplishment. It is something that thousands of people who say that they're going to write a book never do. They never finish that rough draft. So you're already a step ahead of all of those people. So you've done a really great job. Now you have to finish the job, and that is editing. So do those content edits. Once you get those content edits done, you want to read it again yourself. I really highly recommend that you read it out loud. Different part of your brain is working there. And then find that, that copy editor, that experienced copy editor that can really find all those grammar mistakes and typos and problems with your punctuation or your sentence structure, or however it may be. Again, it should be somebody that understands your writing style. I am going to talk about this a little bit more in just a minute, but you know, I had an editor that we were from 2 different storytelling schools and it didn't mesh, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But just make sure that you get a qualified copy editor to look at that book, format it, send it to your beta readers. Yes, you have to go through all those steps in order to have a quality product. And even then, some things are going to slip through, and that's okay. Even when you read a traditionally published book, you do see some mistakes slip through. It happens. The nice thing about being independent is that we can go fix them. Now, a lot of people feel like, oh, because I can go fix it later, I can go ahead and put out my rough draft and then fix it and just keep updating as I fix it. Don't do that. Because once a person reads that, they're not going to go back and see how you fixed it and how you edited it. So even though I know, like I said, you're giddy with excitement because you finished this rough draft, you cannot put it out as is. If you don't want to listen to me, listen to the wise words of Stephen King, who said, writing is rewriting. And that is the truth. Writing is rewriting. There is not a single person who is in the, the grand popular scheme of authors, and I'm talking like Stephen King and Nora Roberts and J.K. Rowling. They all have to edit. Nobody puts out a perfect rough draft. It is called rough for a reason. So Taylor and everybody else who finished those nano projects, now it's time to edit. Now it's time to add. Get it to the word count that you want it. Most novels are 50 to 60,000 words long. And so unless you're writing a novella, and I actually have that question for next week, but unless you're writing a novella, you might want to add some more. You might want to add a subplot. You might want to add another character. There's a lot of different layers to a story, and you definitely want to make sure all of those are out there or on there before you publish it and get it out there. And during Nano, a lot of times that stuff gets kind of stuck to the back burner because you're trying to get that word count in. So edit, 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 edit. Don't publish now. December is a horrible time to publish anyway, because there's going to be a lot of people not heeding my advice, and they're going to publish those NaNoWriMo novels with really bad covers and really bad plots and holes everywhere, and you're going to have to compete with a bunch of mess, and you don't want to compete with the mess. So just wait, do your quality control, put out a great, great book. Okay? All right. So that is that. Let's go on to question number 2. This one is from Becky in Oklahoma. And she says, I am writing an anthology, and I'm not sure whether to give the chapters a traditional chapter header, like chapter 1, chapter 2, and so on, or to give each story a title, or both. What are your thoughts? Well, Becky, I don't know that there's a wrong way to do this, but there's definitely, you want to definitely make sure that it's not confusing to your readers. In my humble opinion, all you really need is that, that title for that chapter. You can do it different ways if you want to, but especially if your book is all one genre. And I know Becky, so I know that she's writing about her adorable pooch, Barkley. She doesn't, I mean, Barkley, sorry, Barkley, I totally messed that one up. Barkley, she doesn't really need to do like one and then Barkley story. She can just do Barkley story, a lot like Heather Davis does in her books, because we know that her books are going to be about life. Her books, especially this one, Life with Extra Cheese, is about balancing having teens, a husband, and a mother living at home that has just had a stroke. So she doesn't need numbers. So all she has are titles for each little essay, each little short story. And that's all that I really think you need if you're putting out an anthology that is all based kind of around one thing. Now, if you're doing an anthology with other people and the genres might mix and mingle a little bit, then you might want to put a number. We did it in our, this is the Bartlesville Word Weavers, Tea Cozies and Terabytes. It's the very last anthology that we put out. And you can see that we didn't do chapter numbers either. You can see the title of each story because they're all different, and then who the author of it. So that was a really good one by Meredith Frazier. So, so again, this one has different genres, but we had a title and then the author, so that keeps it okay. Plus, it's not extremely thick. It's just kind of like your average book. Now, Chicken Soup for the Soul, they have 101 stories in here, and they have different like subtitles. And so they really have theirs down to not only, see some of that here. Oh, okay, not only do they have chapters, they also have like numbers. And so you can see like mine, you see mine is story number 25, and then you can see my title, and then of course my name is at the end of the story. So it really doesn't matter, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I like just the title, especially if you're writing all about Barkley, or if you're writing all about your family. If you have different short stories, and this is also fiction, most of it is fiction, then, you know, a title and a name is fine. You don't have to have that. But if you want to have like one Barkley story, Barkley story, it's kind of that trope and trope thing again, guys, Barkley story, then by all means do that. It's whatever you feel looks best for your novel. And we're going to talk a little bit about formatting here in a minute. You just want to make sure that it looks nice and it's putting across the picture that you want to the readers. I really like what Heather has done, and that she just has, that's not Heather's book, that's my book, that she just has those title chapter headers, sorry. I just like that. I think it works really well for what she's doing. That one's kind of far down on the page. We'll talk about formatting here. Look, this one's just called Poop. She's the TMI mom for a reason. That's all I'm saying. But you don't need to go that far down on the page, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But anyway, it's really up to you. If you want to do like one Barkley story, perfect. If you want to just be like Barkley story and start, also perfect. Just don't gunk up the top of it. Don't make it hard on the eye. And now we're going to talk about formatting. Jess in Missouri has asked, how important is formatting? And I'm so glad I got these questions together, because they really do go together, because however you formatting is super important, by the way. And there's two reasons. One, bad formatting can cost you money, and it can cost you, number two, it can cost you readers. Now, it costs you money because when you're an independent author and you pay your author cost, if it's formatted incorrectly, if there's too much space, like I believe there is here, you pay per page. So there's half a page that Heather is paying for that there's no words on. And so if she brought this up just a little bit, then she would pay less per author copy, which means she would make more of a profit when she sold them. So, and don't fool yourself. Being an independent author is about running a business. So you want to be cost effective. So you want to make sure that you don't have too much empty space. Empty space is money. But you also want to make sure that you don't crowd it. Because if you crowd it or you don't have enough spacing, then it's hard on the eyes and you're going to lose readers, aka you're going to lose money. Now, I'm not going to say that every reader is going to look at a book that is poorly formatted and put it down because it's hard on the eye, but most of them will. You will lose readers, or they will not pick up the next book. Now, this is super minor. This chapter header issue is super minor in the grand scheme of things. I don't think that would stop anybody from reading it, but it's costing Heather money. So my advice to her would be move that up a little bit and see how much you save with having maybe a little thinner of a book. If your spacing is off, if the font is too small, if it's squished together, and because you're trying to fit so many words on a page so you don't have to pay the extra money, then the reader's going to put it down because it's hard on our eyes. The thing is, if a reader picks up your book and a traditionally published book, they should not be able to tell the difference by the format alone. If your book is not formatted like a traditionally published book, then you've done something wrong. And there is a right way and there is a wrong way to do it. You can see on mine here that chapter's not, there's still space for the chapter, but it's not nearly as much space as what Heather has, and that's saving me money. And you can see it doesn't look bad. So, I mean, I guess I'm being a little biased there. It is my book, but you know, it looks like a traditionally published book. So now you can either hire a formatter or you can do it yourself. If you're pretty computer savvy, say on Word, Microsoft Word, which is what I use, then most likely you can do this yourself. And there are tons of tutorials on YouTube, and I'm sure there's websites, and I will even send you a copy of my list that I go through, but it may be kind of old and it doesn't work for for Apple, because for some reason Microsoft Word is different on Apple computers than it is on PCs, and my experience is all on PCs because my husband is like, we're not having any apples. So he doesn't like them. I don't know why. Don't send me hate mail. It's not me. I could care less, in all honesty. I love my PC. If I had an Apple, I would love it. I would have to learn it, but I would love it too. But I'm just saying, I will happily send you my formatting worksheet. It just may be a little bit different if you're on an Apple, and you may have to hunt for some stuff, even if you've upgraded your Word document. That's how long ago I wrote it. But it's all pretty much the same. So either get on YouTube and watch a tutorial on how to format, or hire somebody to format. There are a lot of qualified formatters out there who will do an outstanding job for you. And it is definitely not something that you want to take a chance on. Because like I said, if you've got too much space, you're losing money. If it's not formatted right, if you've got a lot of empty pages, you're losing money. If it's formatted and you've got like a, like 8-point font because you're trying to save money and not have so many pages, it's hard on the reader's eye, you're going to lose readers. That's the same for paragraphs. You don't want paragraphs that are, a whole page long. You want to break it up because it's easier on the reader's eye. And yes, we're here to tell stories. We want to tell great stories, but we have to keep in mind how our readers are going to get to those stories and get through those stories. And so formatting is definitely an issue, as is cover design. If I didn't have a good cover, then nobody's going to pick up this book. If I had a bad cover, nobody's going to look at the story, which, by the way, I think is awesome. Just saying. Nobody's going to look at the story inside because they're going to see the cover and think the quality inside is as bad as the quality on the outside. So good cover, good formatting, they go hand in hand. Like I said, if you're picking up a traditionally published book and an indie book, you should not be able to tell the two apart. They should look the same as far as formatting goes. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Jess. So yes, very, very important. And definitely utilize those people who know what they're doing. If you don't want to do it, if you don't want to take the time to do it, hire somebody. It's most of them are pretty affordable. I don't have anybody on the top of my head right now, but the prices I've seen, just because it's not something I pay attention to because I do it myself, so I don't really think about how much other people are charging for it. So yeah, but I mean, look into that. Don't just throw it off as a second-hand thing that needs to be done before you publish. It's definitely not. So you're trying to put the best quality out there. So edit and format correctly. All right, question number 4. What do you want for Christmas? This one is from my mom in Texas. I don't know. Okay, I gave her some ideas earlier today, but this has been the first year that it's been really hard for me to be like, what do I want for Christmas? I don't know. I guess if I really had to guess about it, I would say that, I want something useful and fun and maybe something magical to keep the creative juices flowing and my butt in the chair and my hands in the keyboard and give me outstanding sales numbers without really having to lift a finger in marketing. I know, yes, I'm asking for the moon, and that's probably not in her budget. But if you guys have any fantastic ideas for writers, for gifts, for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate, hey, put those in the comments. Give us some ideas. Give people who are trying to buy for those writer friends and loved ones some ideas, because sometimes it's really, really hard. I'll probably just get some boots, some stylish, fun boots, but who knows? Who knows what'll come between now and then? I know she's like ready to shop now, but just haven't given it that much thought. And it's really hard when you're like trying to clean out stuff. Like I still have a mountain of things to donate in the bedroom back there. And yeah, and so thinking about getting more stuff when I'm getting rid of stuff is kind of overwhelming. So yeah, probably just get some new boots. So that is it for the questions. Let me see what Glenn here has to say. He says, my experience is that almost every copy editing change reduces the word count by just a little, and you might keep that in mind while working on your rough draft if you're looking for a specific word count to your end project. Yeah, that's true. One of the things that copy editors do, and sometimes even in the content edits, they tighten that up. They make that really long, awkward sentence, something that's tight and readable and sometimes even poetic. And so sometimes you need another pair of eyes to look at that sentence and say, why can't they just say this? And it's just, you're like, I don't know. I guess they can. I mean, what? Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And so I cannot say enough how important it is to have those friends and those critique groups and those writing groups. I showed you guys this Word Weaver anthology with my local writing group, the Word Weavers. And I don't know what I would do without them. I can tell you right now that if it weren't for the Word Weavers and for the Oklahoma Writers Federation, those two writing groups, I would not be where I am today. They have nourished my creative spirit, and they've supported me, and they've helped me through this, navigating this new world of publication. Could not have done it without them. And so find your writing tribe. Let them help you. And when you're taking that constructive criticism, remember, it's going to sting a little in the moment, but they might really have some good points. And don't take it personally. They're really trying to make you a better writer. And so keep that in mind. Just one final thing before I close up here, and I'm probably going to be on time. Yay me. I'm sorry, I'm reading because, oh, that's what it was. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It happens at 10:55 at night. So just the final thing here, holidays can be super, super stressful, and it can be really hard to find time to write during the holidays. And that's one of my biggest complaints with NaNoWriMo being in November is we're trying to get stuff ready for Christmas. We're trying to get stuff ready for Thanksgiving. We're spending time with our families. That is all really important. I just want to encourage you guys to take at least 30 minutes to an hour to sit down and write. Keep those creative juices flowing. Even with everything else that's going on, just schedule a little bit of time daily to keep moving forward and to keep that writing habit a habit. If you skip this month, because everything else is so busy and crazy, and I totally get that. If you skip this month, though, you're going to get out of the habit of writing. And as I've said a million times, the whole purpose of NaNoWriMo is to get you in the habit of writing. Sure, it's great to hit that 50,000 words in a month, but it really is to get you in the habit of writing. And if you quit that in December, you've broken that habit. You're going to have to start all over again in January. So just give yourself a little time. Not only will it make you feel better because you're letting your creative juices flow into the computer and your writing, and you'll remember your story and it will be easier. It will also, just give you kind of a peace of mind and knowing that you're not forgetting anything. You're not letting anybody down. You're not letting yourself down. And I think I struggle with that a lot during the holiday season because as anybody who coordinates Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you celebrate, there's a lot that goes into it. And so it's really easy to get overwhelmed in that list and to let the writing just fall completely on the back burner. So I like to take at least the first 2 to 3 weeks of December and I make sure that I write every day and I try to write 2 to 3 hours that day. And then the last 2 weeks of December, I really take a step back and I only write about an hour. And then on Christmas, I don't write at all. That's family time. And so I just encourage you to make a plan for December, right up until the 20th at least. Give yourself 20 days to keep that habit going. Take your time off for your celebrations. Be with your family. Enjoy your family. Don't let the guilt get to you, whether it's your Christmas to-do list or your writing to-do list. Enjoy the spirit of the holidays and everything that comes with it. It's supposed to be fun. And if your list is so long, it's not being fun. Maybe trim that list down a little bit, but just don't quit writing because you've done such a great job up until now. And I just want to encourage you to keep going, to keep writing, just keep telling your stories because they matter. All right, that is it for me. Look at that. I'm going to end on time today. No rambling from Jennifer. She's getting her done. She's all about the business. So what happens when you finish a novel? You're all like, let's get on the next one. Let's do this. It's an addictive kind of feeling to just be like, yeah, look at me. If you have a question for me for next week, I've already got one. Yay. If you have a question for me for next week, please email me at jennifermcmurrain@gmail.com or PM me right here on the Facebook, and I will do my best to get it answered next week on Monday. Oh, and I got my books today, as you saw that. So if you want to order some merch, you can still do that on my website. I got signed copies. I'm just saying. You can do that on my website, jennifermcmurrain.com, under the signed paperbacks and gifts tab, and I will get that mailed to you ASAP. They make really good Christmas gifts. The reader in your life probably hasn't read this yet. I'm just saying. It's a sure thing. Sweet romance. It's a sweet romance. Contemporary, but not traditional. I call them romance with a twist. They're a bit paranormal, but no ghosts, no vampires, nothing like that. So also, if you live in Bartlesville or close by, I will have a book signing on Saturday from 9 to 2 at the Redeemer Lutheran Church's Women in Small Business Christmas Shopping event. Again, that's from 9 to 2 at the Redeemer Lutheran Church, their Women in Small Business Christmas Shopping event. There's going to be lots of fun stuff there. There's going to be paparazzi. Cool little ring right here. My earrings are also from paparazzi. I'm sure there's going to be some Scentsy and some Unique, which is, I love that makeup. So I'm probably going to spend more than I make because I always do at those things. But anyway, come get your copy of Autumn's Kiss. I'll sign it. We'll chat. It'll be happy times. We'll have fun. So until then, I hope that you have a really great writing week. So happy reading, happy writing, and take care. Bye, guys. Now, my mouse is always in the wrong spot. So it takes me forever to end these things. I just can't say goodbye. Okay, I'm saying goodbye for real now. All right, take care, guys.